Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I call up my amendment, Cruz, first degree 1. Let me start by commending the authors of this resolution. I agree with what you're trying to do. I think it is important, number one, to reassert Congress's authority over war making. Far too many Congresses, both Republican and Democrat, have willingly abdicated our constitutional authority over declaring war and over supervising the conduct of war to the executive. And we have allowed executives, both Republicans and Democrats, far too much leeway in exercising the awesome might of calling into battle the U.S. Armed Forces. I also am one of those who has long believed that the Iraq War was a mistake, that the world was made more dangerous by going in and toppling a horrific dictator and leaving a power vacuum that allowed even more dangerous enemies of America to rise up. So the endeavors that we're doing today are endeavors I very much support. I am a critic of the endless wars we have been in, and I think we should be far more reluctant to use U.S. military force than we have been previously. That being said, this resolution is not being debated in a vacuum. It is instead being debated in the context of an administration that is exercising a hard pivot towards Iran, that has decided one of, if not its preeminent foreign policy objective, is to re-enter some variant of the Iran nuclear deal, which I believe was a catastrophic deal. And in furthering that endeavor, it has consistently been turning a blind eye to malign acts from Iran. In just 6 months, the Biden administration has revoked terrorism sanctions against Iran's terrorist proxies in Yemen. It has removed Iranian officials from sanctions. They have dialed back enforcement of oil sanctions, including violations related to the Chinese Communist Party. They have unlocked Iranian accounts worth billions of dollars to allow Iran to pay down its debts. They have repeatedly declined to respond to Iranian attacks against our troops, and they have not imposed even a single significant new sanctions. And Iran has noticed. I believe weakness is provocative and is an invitation to violence, and in this instance, that has proven true. We have seen in the opening weeks of this administration Iranian proxies in Hamas raining over 4,000 rockets down on Israel that I think was directly provoked by what they perceived to be weakness towards Iran. We have seen the Iranians attacking U.S. forces repeatedly and killing an American military contractor, a U.S. citizen. We have seen the Iranians try to conduct terrorism on U.S. soil, including sending a kidnap team to the United States of America to kidnap a U.S. terrorist, a U.S. journalist. We have seen them launch multiple attacks on our Arab allies. We have seen them launch multiple attacks on civilian vessels, including an attack on an Israeli citizen, and we've seen them kill citizens from 2 of our close allies, Britain and Romania. That pattern is significant and is concerning. Now, in the course of all of these debates, the administration and the advocates of this resolution have said, as Senator Young just said a minute ago, that the ability to respond to Iranian aggression is contained within Article 2. I agree with that as an abstract matter. All this amendment does is memorialize that in this resolution. So if that argument is in good faith and genuinely believed by the proponents of this resolution, my amendment should be something easily adopted by both sides. What I don't want to see is this resolution adopted, these AUMFs repealed, and I believe that's going to happen. The votes are clearly there to repeal them. I think that's a good thing. But what I don't want to see is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now, when the Iranians launch yet another attack on U.S. forces, when they murder soldiers or sailors or airmen or Marines, I don't want to see the argument put forth by the administration that our hands are tied now that the AUMF has been repealed. We need another AUMF so we can't act. What I don't want to see is if in some time in the future we discover Iran is on the verge of acquiring a nuclear weapon that could be used to take the lives of millions of Americans or millions of our close allies, I don't want to see the administration saying, well, Congress repealed these AUMFs, so we have no power to act to protect American lives. And so I accept and embrace the arguments put forth by the proponents of this resolution that Article 2 gives the Commander-in-Chief the authority to protect American troops in the battlefield and to act to protect our national security interest. This resolution simply memorializes that in the resolution, and I encourage members of both sides to vote for it.
Thank the Senator.